We were discussing Adhyatma Padavali, and Adhyatma Padavali is a composition by Acharya Tulsi, who have come for the first, who is attending the first session of this. And we went through different definitions about self and other aspects, and currently we are discussing about identity. And the shlok which Acharya has written here is Bhav Parinamik Raha Atma का अस्तित्व क्षयोपशम उदयिक है उसका स्फुट व्यक्तित्व. So in our previous session we discussed about parinamic bhav, we discussed about udayik bhav. Now what is parinamic bhav? A little bit of test. Reality, the way the existence is in its true nature is the cause of the existence. In Jainism, there is no other cause rather than parinamic bhav. So here we do not say that the matter is that. So for example, the paper doesn't have the power to know, and we do have the power to know, is not because God made it that way. It's because of its parinamic bhav. So the nature of the reality, the way it is because of its parinamic bhav. The second thing which we discussed was udayik bhav. What is udayik bhav? We talked about two kinds of uday, ghati karma and aghati karma. So good, you remember the words. Ghati means
related to the soul,
and aghati means
physical body.
Wonderful. So the karma which has its consequence at the physical level in the external world is aghati, and the karma which has a consequence at the soul level or conscious level is ghati karma. We discussed about the karmic fruition of these kinds of karma in our previous class or session, and today we will discuss about Kshyopsham. To understand the word Kshyopsham, we also need to understand the word uday. Uday means fruition. So we have two kinds of fruition. One, vipakoday, other is pradeshoday. What is vipakoday? The fruition which comes about at a gross level is vipakoday. The fruition of karma which comes about at the conscious level, at the subtle level, is pradeshoday. So for example, a person is going through fever. So you could feel the presence of the fever or anything of this, right? When there is fever, which means which karma? Vedaniya karma. So do you think Vedaniya karma is acting only when you have fever or when you have health issues? Didn't it exist before or after? Does it exist now or no? Yes. So the fruition of the karma, the result of the karma could be in two different ways. One in a very subtle way, negligible way, which we do not feel the presence of. Which means you really don't know that you're constantly getting rid of lots of karma in the Pradeshoday even now. But you don't feel it. Because it comes gently, goes out gently. Like someone walks in, but you don't know. For example, if a person comes into the room, everyone's eyes or ears would be focused towards that. But just the wind blowing in and out, do you realize it?
No.
It's something like that. So the karma, now vipakoday is where we feel it. Who decides which kind of karmic consequence the karma would go through? Which we would go through. Like for example, if there is one set of karma, a bundle of 1,000 karmas, right? Now those 1,000 karmas will give its result. Fruition means result?
Yes.
So will give its result in the form of pradeshoday or vipakoday. Who decides it?
What is vikap? What is the word vikap?
Vipakoday. Vipak uday. Pradesh uday. So that decision is based on the time when the karma was born. How did you bind it? Was it mildly, gently, or was it with intense emotions? So suppose an act was done with intense emotions, intense ego or greed or even love for that matter, attachment. everything is karmic bondage, right? So if act is done with intense emotion, then the consequence would be in the form of vipaka there. But many karmas are done, many actions are done just because with detachment, because you have to do it, and you might have done it and then repented for it. So if the karma has been, if the act has been done very mildly, then the possibility is the karmic bondage which came about would go into the category of pradeshodaya. So the decision maker is us, and especially our emotional state. As simple as this, there are different incidents or episodes where we talk about how the person did it. A small act, a big consequence. A big act and a small consequence. How does that change? It depends on our awareness, our emotion. If you're doing deep cleaning in the house, right? And you're very picky about everything should be the way it is. It should be according to you. You're obsessed with cleanliness. Is it okay? Is it good? Well, of course it is good, right? In the social life, in the house, it is good. But then to panic about it to the degree where your emotional rage comes up, or you become uncomfortable about it, is not good for your soul. So the same act done by two people, one is doing the karmic bondage in the form of pradeshodaya, the other might be doing it with intense emotion. So in Jainism, it's not just what you do is important, but how you do it, what kind of background, what kind of shades of emotion you carry behind that makes a big impact on that. So having understood this pradeshodaya and vipakodaya, now we'll go into Kshyopsham. Kshay and Upsham, these are two words in Kshyopsham. What is Kshay? Karmic deletion. So you delete certain karmas. Upsham means you suppress certain karmas. There is a possibility of you getting upset of something, but then you choose that you're not going to get upset about something. And you control your anger, you control your anxiety, you control your thought. You said, no, I would not panic on it. You try to meditate, you do mantra chanting, whatnot. So by making an effort for the karma to not impact on you, to not be bossy on you, to not be governing you, rather than you take an opportunity or take the governance and say stop it, this will not happen. So you try to meditate or do whatever spiritual thing and try to control it, or even a positive thought, a simple positive thought that this will go off. So why panic about it? Acharya, I think I did mention earlier one time that Acharya asked us, do you get angry? And most of us do, to different degrees again, right? So we said yes. And then Acharya, she gave a very simple answer, reply back to this, that what will you carry with you to be angry on? Anything which we are doing or which is bothering you, will it live with you forever? Then why lose your temper for that? So letting go of something becomes crucial here, and that can help you control your karmic consequence. So here, Kshay means getting rid of, and Upsham means subliming, suppressing, or subjugating certain kinds of karma. Now, making it the whole, there are certain times the 4 ghati karma is going through the consequence of Uday, Kshyopsham, Kshay, and Upsham is only of, complete Upsham is only of Moha, so I'll not discuss that. So Uday, Kshyopsham and Kshay, 3 words now. Uday means the karma is in its consequent state, result state, fruition state. Upsham, Kshay means the karma is in deleted state. And Kshyopsham means a mix of it. So how does this come about? For example, if you want to plan for a vacation, what do? But you have to work. You have to keep up with your work and still want a vacation. You say, okay, for 1 week, I don't want to be bothered by my clients. I don't want to be bothered by my projects, my deadlines. You work expeditedly the project, you take care of things beforehand, get rid of all the deadlines beforehand. A week before which you had to do it is done a week before. So this is called Udirna. Udirna means that which is supposed to come into effect tomorrow, you bring into effect today. So why are we doing all the spiritual activities? To get rid of karma. And the way we do it is Udirna as well. So by doing Udirna of the for example, for next 1 hour, there is certain karmas which is going to come into fruition. You are very smart. You don't want that to come to interrupt you, right? So what you do is the next 1 hour karma which is supposed to be coming, you pull them, get rid of them through your fasting, your mantra chanting, your spiritual acts through meditation. You got rid of next 1 hour karma. Now what happens is, suppose you're standing in a queue. The first 10 people are removed from the queue. What happens? You get an early chance, right?
Yeah.
Same thing happens with the karma. So you were smart to take care of the 1 week job, next 1 week job, but the following things are stressed and coming in the front zone. But then you say, stop it. This will not happen. I'm on leave for a week, so I will not respond to anything. And everything which is supposed to come, I mean, you don't allow the next following karmas to effect and you suppress them. So an hour karma, you did expedited deletion, and then the rest of it you did suppress. So Kshay and Upsham. Upasham. So the two things which is happening, expedited deletion of the next 48 minutes karma, and then also stopping or upsham or sublimation or suppression of the following karma. And this state is called Kshyopsham. What is different here is, though the karmic consequence which is about to come in the form of fruition, in Vipakoday you have stopped it, but the Pradeshoday is still going on. But Pradeshoday doesn't matter. Why? It is so subtle, it comes gently, it goes off gently. Did you get an idea of it? Now I'll give you an example to get a better understanding. If you have a glass of water, right, and you put sand in it, you wait for a certain time, the sand particles settles down. But still there are certain subtle, like the dust particles which is there in the water, but still the water is clear enough. It's not initially the water is not clear because the sand particles are all over in the thing. But through your meditational effort, you did that Kshyopsham process and the sand particles, the bigger ones, settle down, which bothers us more. We know Vipako there, but the subtle ones are there, which is still okay. So this is the state of Kshyopsham.
Can I just ask? You said the next, I'm using the queue analogy. So the next ones who come forward, they are actually halted because are we saying during that 48 minutes or 2 weeks vacation or however we take, that those would not necessarily have come into fruition. So the ones which were in the 48 minutes we've sort of expedited. The ones which were before that, they've actually come up forward, but they are stopped because they wouldn't have been coming into fruition within that 48 minutes. So they'll come in at their ordinary time, but they've not been expedited in their fruition time. Is that what?
Yeah, so this is right. So the current, like the 48-minute karmic thing is getting expedited.
Yeah.
And the rest of the ones they would stop them, so they want to come into fruition according to their own time.
Their own time.
Yeah. And now you could constantly make effort of Kshyopsham and make them go into the same process and put them into sublime state as well. So yes.
So does this apply to, you mentioned there are two types,
Gati and Agati? Does it apply to all time?
Very good question. No, so this applies only to Ghati Karma and not to Aghati Karma. Why? In my previous session, I mentioned Ghati Karma is something which has an impact on the soul, Aghati on the physical conditions. So here what we are trying to see is, I'll give you another example to make it better understand. If we have this emotion anger, right? There was time period, probably some of us had intense anger, but we have gone through a healing process gradually and slowly, anger or greed or anything, emotion or ego. Slowly and slowly we have sublimed it, it's become milder and milder. So you see that you would, if you have to rate yourself, if you have to rate your own emotion, you might say, okay, I had 5 degrees initially, but now it's come to 3 degrees or 2 degrees. Right? This is possible. I mean, we could rate it. So in case of Ghati Karma, which has an impact on the soul, we might have the consequence of the karma in different degrees. But when it is Aghati Karma, if I say, do you have the body or not, there would be a yes and no answer. There would not be an intermediate answer. So the process of Kshyopsham is an intermediate thing, where it is through degrees and degrees we are trying to get rid of it. So for example, you have age, Aisha Karma, yes or no. There is no, like, it's not a state where you get rid of certain karma and you're enjoying certain karma. Like, the process of Kshyopsham is not possible there, because its impact is on the physical world or a physical identity. You cannot go through, I mean, it doesn't go through the process of Kshyopsham, basically. Did I make sense? But Ghati Karma is the one which is at the soul level, and there you could have different degrees of effect of the karma, basically. And Kshyopsham is something where we say it is degrees of accomplishment. Another example is Samyak Drishti. What is Samyak Drishti? Right perspective. Right understanding of the truth is Samyak Drishti. Now, certain people have a very clear understanding of truth. Certain people might have different degrees of understanding of truth, right? Certain people have different degrees of faith. Some are very strong faith, have a strong Shraddha, strong faith, no matter what they don't. So which means like Shaik Samyak. The Mohaniya Karma, which is related to their perspective, which is Darshan Mohaniya, they have got rid of it. But some have got rid of it to a different degree. They've diluted it, made it mild. Like you have 2% milk and fat milk and low fat milk and no fat milk, right?
Yeah.
So you could see that you could remove the fat to different degrees. You could remove the emotions to different degrees. You could remove the knowledge obscuring karma to different degrees. You could remove the antray to different degrees. And these are all Ghati Karma. And that is the reason where we say even in antray karma. What is antray karma? Which creates obstacles, right? Sometimes you think that this person in my life has always created problems, right? So stop saying that. Who creates problems? The antray karma is one which actually has a big hurdle creating energy which we carry. And sometimes the antray gets milder, sometimes it gets stronger. So if there is antray karma, you cannot enjoy, even antray karma is not for only spiritual things. If you are looking forward for a party time, right? But your spouse is not ready to go and you cannot go by yourself, there is antray karma. Antray karma in enjoying pleasure, antray karma in enjoying pain, antray karma in spiritual effort. Like for example, you want to go for a meditation session in the early morning, but then your family commitment is, no, you have to do this, take care of the social responsibilities. So there is this antray karma, and in my last session I mentioned antray karma is a friend of all karmas. So even if it's physical conditions, antray karma can come into play. It's mental conditions, antray karma can come into play. You want to go for a further education or further progress into the job or anything, like you want to grow from somewhere to some other situation. But there is this antray karma which could stop you doing it, yes.
Samaniji, I think we should also say that you can also bind antray karma by blocking others.
Yeah, that's a whole, there is this, why do we have these karmas? There is a whole theory behind it. So, for example, as you mentioned, antray karma. Why is there antray karma? Because if you have created problems in someone's life, knowingly, unknowingly, then you pile up more antray karma. If you have created problem in someone's life for their knowledge, pursuing further knowledge of their life, then you might bind up jnana varane karma. So binding karma is so subtle. It's not just like in the external world, but even if you think about it, you might get the karma. That's the reason in Jainism, we have that there are 3 ways of binding karma and getting rid of karma. You do the act, you appreciate the act, and you command someone else to do the act. So suppose someone is studying and you appreciate that, you're appreciating knowledge, right? So you're getting rid of karma. But someone is studying and you criticize that, what happens? You're binding jnana varane karma. So it's a very subtle play, and most of things could happen at the mental level. We might not speak about it, we might not show that we have this kind of attitude towards anyone. But your soul doesn't need any other judge, it doesn't need any other God to see what's going in you. The karma automatically plays a role. So here we see that Kshyopsham is a very important aspect of our life. And it is so crucial because we say that there are many incidents where a person became a sadhu and then gave up his ascetic life. And then people start criticizing him, right, or her. The fact is, when the person took up initiation, he did take up with that spirit. So the Kshyopsham at that time was profound enough for him or her to take up the journey of spirituality. But then the person was not able to keep up that degree of Kshyopsham. And the Uday became so dominant, he lost it. So here, constant effort which we do in our spiritual world is to keep up our Kshyopsham. Why do you want to meditate every day? To keep up your Kshyopsham. There are people who have miraculously changed by meditation. Like this person was very angry. People would, like even the family members would be afraid when he knocked the door. Because at the moment he came up with anger. But after attending Preksha meditation camp, the things changed. What happened within him is the Mohani karma, the karma of anger which was creating a turmoil in him, was deleted. He went through the Kshyopsham process and sublimed the whole karma, which means now the karma is not effective. So for every piece of our aspect, whether it's ego, anger, greed, deceit, any kind of emotions, any kind of antra, even knowledge, we constantly read and read and read, we keep up our expertise. The moment you stop reading, some people, they say they did their engineering, but they didn't went into the profession of engineering. Now, do they have that knowledge? Kind of. But can they use it and go for that as a profession anymore? No. Why? You had it when you had it, but you didn't keep up the Kshyopsham of it and you lost it. So it's in every aspect, we learn so many things from childhood to now. When we were young, like when we are in the institutional training center, we had to memorize things, right? So we memorized different kinds of compositions in Sanskrit and other languages. But we didn't repeat it, we didn't kind of revise it, and it's all gone. So the effort, constant effort, which is demanded in the spiritual world is to keep up the Kshyopsham. There's a simple analogy for this. There's a frog. There's a whole family of frogs who lives in the pond, and the pond has always been layered by algae, you know, like the moss and growth on it. So they never got a chance to come out of the pond or look out. One day, because of the wind blowing, these weeds which actually moved around, and one of the frog could see the sun shining up there. And this frog thought, come on, this is such an amazing thing I've never seen in my life. I should show it to my family members. So this frog goes and tells everyone, I've seen a wonderful thing. You've never seen such a thing in your life. I'm going to show you such a great thing. come. Like, he with pride, with ego, he brings everyone to show the sun. What happens? By the time they reach there, it's through the winds, the weeds again move around and it's blocked. Now, when will they be able to see the sun again? If they kind of create a movement in the water constantly so that the weeds move apart. The constant effort which the frog has to make to see the sun is something similar we have to do. Constant effort to make ourselves positive, keep our faith strong, get rid of the karma, so we do not we say that we do, like, we do something spiritual, but still we go through problems. It's a part of life that the constant effort has to be made to keep up with what you have gained in your conscious level, basically. So sometimes we have such a positive thinking, right? And we are so peaceful and everything is bright inside us. But then comes a phase in our life where our mood gets kind of sad and we feel dull and we have no reason why we are complaining, but still there is complaint coming up. Why? The Kshyopsham, which was active for a while, you've lost that. And to bring up that positivity, that positive mood, a smile on your face, no complaints, you have to make another effort to keep up with your Kshyopsham. And all the activities which we do, whether it is if you have the practice of meditation, the practice of reading the scriptures to give you a constant positive thought to kind of energize yourself constantly with good thinking, or you do mantra chanting to kind of calm down your mind. All these efforts are nothing but to enrich your Kshyopsham, basically. In the process of Kshyopsham, you are getting rid of karma, and you're trying to experience a purer state of your own self, basically. So is Kshyopsham clear, kind of? Right? Now, four karmas go through Kshyopsham is also clear by now, I think, because it is only Ghati karma which goes through Kshyopsham. Jnanavarniya Kshyopsham, what do we accomplish? More ability to learn and more knowledge. There is a child who is very dumb, but what happens after a while? Makes an effort, has a strong willpower, constantly goes on and on and on for it and accomplishes it. We have this Sanskrit grammar, and Panini's grammar is kind of one of the greatest works in it. When Panini was young, his teacher, actually he didn't memorize certain things. The teacher said, in ancient time India, they had their own way of punishment. So the teacher said, bring up your hand, and the teacher would, take a stick and hit it on the hand. The teacher was about to hit the stick on the hand of Panini, and the teacher stopped. Why? The teacher said, in your hand there is no line of knowledge, like the rekha, and there is no sign which shows that there is going to be knowledge in you. So it's not your problem that you didn't learn it, you don't have the fate of learning. And he left the child and he said, you don't have to come to school again. But that child who didn't have, whose palm did not show any signs of future knowledge, created a grammar of Panini, called Panini's grammar, which we in today's world try to even understand. It is difficult. So you see, Kshyopsham was not there with birth, but you can grow and grow by your effort. The next karma is Jnanavarniya and then Darshanavarniya. Darshanavarniya is very closely related to the Jnanavarniya. Darshanavarniya means, what's the role of Darshanavarniya? Perception. So Jnanavarniya actually gives you deeper, detailed knowledge. Darshanavarniya gives you the instant knowledge. In case of Darshanavarniya's role, for example, you're sitting in the pravachan hall, right? In the lecture hall, and you start dozing. You want to listen, but still you're feeling sleepy. You want to study, but still you feel sleepy. Why? It is Darshanavarniya karma. Darshanavarniya karma is related to sleep. So, though it is related to knowledge, right? Studies is related to Jnanavarniya karma, but all these karmas are family relationship. So if it is a family relationship, if one is working, the other one has to work, right? You cannot say, okay, only one person in the family can do everything. Especially in the Western world, it's equal job, equal opportunity means equal job and equal responsibility as well. So here, the Darshnavarni karma, if you have this tendency of sleeping constantly in meditation or in discourse or in mantra chanting, it is because there is a hurdle which is created by Darshnavarni karma. And again, with your efforts, you can get rid of it. But then there are other factors in it. Like for example, you would say that person is dozing when he's studying is because has less oxygen level. So the doctor would say less oxygen level, but here the theory is Darshnavarni karma. So who is right?
Both.
Okay, both be right. Because you're sitting in front of Samaniji, you cannot say Jainism is wrong, but you cannot deny science. You have faith in science. So Jainism's answer is any karma to give its result, it will need a nimit. So the lack of oxygen is a nimit which motivates or helps the karma to give its results inside us. If you change the external factors, you will change the inner karmas. Many times if you're going through a problematic situation, change the situation, change the place, change the people. I mean, change the people, I don't mean like, but change factors around you to change your karmic consequence, because without the help of external factors, karma is helpless. And the next karma is Mohaniya karma. Mohaniya karma, if you have intense Kshyopsham of Mohaniya karma, what happens? You have samyak dristi, you have positive thinking, you have less emotional rage, you have mild emotions or no emotions at some point as well. And if you have very depleted Mohaniya karma, you could also go to the extent of charitra, where you can give up, you have the ability to take up vow, do tyag, and go for your ascetic life. So when some people, if anyone's taking diksha, people say, oh, the person has, bhagyodaya, and it is a good uday of karma which the person is getting diksha. It is not uday, it is Kshyopsham. Uday of Mohaniya karma will only stop you from doing good things. Be very clear on this. And for Mohaniya karma, I mean the consequence of Mohaniya karma, the degree to which you can sublime it, to that degree you can activate your spiritual journey. So enriching your spiritual journey would depend on Kshyopsham of Mohaniya karma, not the uday of Mohaniya karma. Uday is constantly going on, where we have these emotions which play in our life. And there is this degrees of emotion which gives a very good example. Certain people have this emotion where they call it, if you draw a line on a stone slab, how long will it stay? Forever, for centuries, right? It could stay for that long. But if you draw a line on a beach where the sand is wet, then it would stay for short time. As long as the water waves come, they clean up and it might get washed off. But if you draw a line on a dry sand, the slightest wind blow, it goes off. But the fourth is, if you draw a line on water, what happens? It's formed and it's deleted constantly with it. Similarly, our emotions could be like the line drawn on a stone slab, on a wet sand, on a dry sand, and on a water. It all depends again on the degree of our Kshyopsham. Something happened, someone told someone anything, a comment, and you hold that comment until the last breath of your life. I will never forget this. In US, there was this Twin Tower attack, right? After the 10 years of the Twin Tower, every year they do a gathering, different, like, I mean, we were at FIU, so they did it there as well. And we had different spiritual leaders who came and presented on that occasion. One of the persons said, we will never forget this day. What does it mean?
In line drawn on the sled.
You're holding to something which happened in the past forever. Those who did it might have gone. Those who suffered are suffering. Why are you holding to that grudge? Something happened in Paris and we all get angry about it. Right? That's a social way of responding to violence. What's a spiritual way of responding to that violence? The truth is that everyone is going through their karma, but how sad that they don't know how to deal with the karma, and the karmic consequence is so outrageous in the external world. If we have the ability to control our emotions, we can always live with a peaceful day, right? But the day you lost your temper and you spoke something, then you regret, hope I could have kept quiet. So this ability to keep quiet might come eventually, but the conscious awareness that I must try to learn to keep quiet in tough times or speak in a positive way in tough times, that awareness, the moment you carry on that awareness, you will slowly and gradually grow towards that. Like people say, if you think you're slim, you're going to be slim, right? Same thing here. If you constantly wish for it, that I need to control it, I need to control it, I need to control it, not with aggressive attitude. Don't punish yourself as well. In Jainism, suppose someone did a wrong act, right? And there is a guilt thing which goes in ourselves, and the guilt is so intense that the person goes into depression. This is not the way you heal your act. The burden of anything is wrong. So healing your act is important, purifying yourself is important, but not the burden of guilt which pushes you into another negative zone. This is not right. So here the emotion, like there's another small real life story. Two friends, very good bonding, something happened, they broke apart. And one of them were familiar with us. So we told him that, I hope you don't carry the grudge of it, or you don't carry the whole episode in your mind forever. And this person, he says, Samaniji, he is not in my life anymore, and he's not a part of my life anymore, and I let go him. But he will never forget the thing which happened. Is this forgiveness?
No.
Because ultimately, you will leave the world one day, that person will leave the world one day. Do you want to be born with that person again and meet some part of the other world to pay back your grudge? No. If you don't like a person, you literally don't want to be born with that person again, right? As simple as this. If you don't want to be born with that person again, don't have animosity with that person, because otherwise it's for granted. If the person is in your mind, the person will be in your life again. So,
how do you actually get rid of that animosity? It's okay to say don't hold that grudge. How do you actually get away from that?
There are a few things. One is meditation. Meditation does help to release your kind of emotions, negativity, help you calm down. And positive thinking, like as simple as if you have one simple phrase as a part of your life, like an ideal for you, let go, as this as an ideal. Then you want to live by your ideal, and then you constantly say, well, that person is wrong. Should I be wrong because that person is wrong? There's a man who has been deceived by the other person, and he says that I very well know that I was deceived, but I'm happy that I'm not the deceiver. At least I'm not the culprit. Then why should I carry the baggage of that man? that person. This is, I mean, a real person's thing. So we have to help ourselves through thoughts, meditation, through mantra. Make efforts to delete it. Sit in meditation and kind of rub away the whole episode which bothers you. Kind of literally see the scene, take an eraser and erase the whole stuff. You try this consciously with an awareness that you really want to get rid of it, and after a few months you will see the at the unconscious level we would have erased that as well. So there are different methods which you could help, but you have to have the strong will that I don't want to carry it. There is another in Africa, when there was so much of black and white struggle going on, they came up at the end to heal this whole animosity which is there towards the black, I mean white's animosity towards the black and black's animosity towards the white. So they created a committee and they said that anyone who comes and confesses that we did this wrong, we killed the black or we killed the white in this whole episode, we will make arrangements that they're not punished for it. But the process was, the family who went through this whole loss, they had to confess in front of them and heal the karma at that level. Now suppose a mother or a wife loses a son or husband, and this man comes and tells, I killed your husband, and they show the whole piece of recording how they did it. Such brutal way of killing. What is the state of the mother or the wife to see the whole scene? Is it acceptable? No. So, but they did this. They tried to help the females or whoever went through the loss to get rid of it, and the lady said, when we lived with the emotion, it was very difficult, but when we let it go, it is much easier. And this is real life situations which I mean, there are many stories which talks about in this way. I mean, it's a real life thing. So when I had this feeling that a person lost a family member, someone killed someone, right? And to excuse that, so tough. Here, when someone tells us some bad words, we cannot take it. And we keep the grudge forever. The degree of violence, killing someone, is much bigger than words, right? How strange it is that those people who do not understand Jainism have the ability to forgive those who kill their family members, and we as Jains who have this understanding of the philosophy are not able to get over the words which came to us which we didn't like it. I mean, see, we have to motivate ourselves, push ourselves further high to live that spirit which we aspire for, right? Like, I mean, it's not just you, it's we all. I mean, we Samanijis also live a life, right? So it's not like everything is clean slate and everything is beautiful heaven. So each one of us have to make an effort to push ourselves to get rid of that heaviness which we carry in our lives. Heaviness towards known people, closer people, far related people, but ultimately this life or some life, if we have to liberate, we have to drop it. So why not now, right? Why do you want to wait for another life to get rid of it? Make an effort, wake up with the thought that this thought of pain which happened will not stay in my life anymore. The constant effort will help you to grow there. So that was Mohaniya Karma, yes.
So I still I don't understand, is our efforts towards Kshyopsham or is our efforts towards Kshay? Because eventually you want destruction. So what I don't understand is why you're saying that all these efforts of Samaniji, everything is towards Kshyopsham.
Okay, the reason why I brought Kshyopsham is because there was context is Kshyopsham in this
But is that the goal or is that happens automatically?
So Kshyopsham is the path and we ultimately lead to Kshay. Kshay cannot happen in one slot, right? Like for example, Malli Kumari, she got Keval Gyan within 3 hours probably. But then her state of purification, which they had gone through earlier, was enough to get that Keval Gyan. Marudevi Mata got Keval Gyan instantly. So those cases where we get instant Kshay, right, is very rare, and it's because the earlier status which they had was less karma, and like we have a lot of karma, and for us to get into the purpose is Kshay. But then, for example, you have the purpose of deep cleaning, but you clean up each almirah, each window, each floor, each door, right? Step by step by step, you do everything, and then you say the house is cleaned up. Similarly, Kshyopsham, which means deletion, some of expedited fusion of certain karma, and then you sublime certain more karma. Kshyopsham is also very important because through Kshyopsham, you're stopping your incoming new karma as well. Why? What is the state in Kshyopsham? No vipakode, and certain karmas is being in sublime state, and only pradeshode. In that state, you would not bind too much of intense karma. So you're also blocking the incoming karma by having this Kshyopsham state. So Kshyopsham is actually important for us because we as a being in this world are going through, we haven't reached to a point where we are in 5th or 6th Gunasthan, right? So our Gunasthan is 4th, 5th or 6th, and in this state you can do Kshay of some Mohniya karma, like in the sense of Darshan Mohniya karma. You can have Kshay of Mithyatva. But other karmas, to get into the Kshay state, it's going to come higher later, right? So for us to say Mohniya karma Kshay, no anger at all, let's do a Samvatsari resolution this time. I will never be angry ever. Who will join me? It's tough. Why? Because complete deletion is tough at this stage. So for us currently is the Kshyopsham process, right? As Samvatsari point came about, Tuesday is Chaturmasik Pakhi, which means the Chaturmas starts. Sawan is the month, right? For us, Sawan doesn't make any, we don't know about Sawan and other months, but it's still fine. What I'm trying to say is, we are closely heading towards Paryushan. So this is the month which we do a lot of spiritual activities. Many people do fasting. It's the right moment to reap your spiritual seeds. By any kind of spiritual act you want to do it, this is the good time. So we are heading towards Paryushan. I hope Hasubai will actually inform you more about it. So you prepare from now how you want to spend the time of these 8 to 9 days. We are having it for 9 days rather than 8 days, an extra day to uplift our spiritual selves because of 2 different dates in which Paryushan starts for different traditions. So we thought we'll just have inclusive dates for which goes by all Jains basically in a way. So it starts on 29th of August and ends on 6th of September. But how you want to spend this 8 or 9 days, the most spiritual way, you could think of, I don't know how many of you do fasting or other kinds of spiritual activities you could take on. You want to plan for a vacation at that time and do the best of your spiritual activity, you can plan that as well. But it's a good time to intensify your Kshyopsham, get rid of your Uday and uplift your spiritual selves basically.
So we are also going to have...
In the meditating here in silence is to generate a peaceful, blissful, positive vibe. Because what is created within us, the spiritual energy which we create within us, we send it into the cosmos. And that should multiply and come back to us. So the impact of negativity, so what happens has happened. We cannot undo it, right? But the impact of that on our minds, on our lives, around us should not be intense enough. We can actually sublime that. Because many times we read newspapers and people go into sadness and one shoots there and the other person says, if they shoot there, I'm going to kill them here. Like people kill each other just to keep up the chain of animosity. No. our effort is send the positive, good vibe of friendliness and care for the world. Okay, so breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Try to observe a beautiful Om in your mind and release the Om into the cosmos. Energy of compassion, love, care, positivity, non-violence. Send the energy into the cosmos. Expand the energy into the cosmos. The energy you send expands, the Om is expanding into the cosmos, and a pure positive vibe around you. Recite logos in your mind as a feeling of condolence and blessing to the people who have suffered. Logasya ujjoya gari dhamma tithayare jine arhanti kitta isam chauvi sampi kevali usavamajiyam cha vande sambhavam abhinandanam cha sumayam cha Paumappaham supasam Zinam cha chandappaham vande Suvihim cha puffvadantam Siyalasidjan savasupujjam cha Vimalamanantam cha zinam Dhammam santim cha vandami Kuntham aram cha mallim Vande munisovayam namijinam cha Vandami ritthanemim Pasantaha vadhamanam cha Evam mai avibhuva Vibhuya rayamalapahin jarimarina Chauvi sampijinavara Tithayarami pasiyantu Kittiyavandiyamai Je logasya uttama siddha Arugvohi labham Samahi varamuttamam dintu Chandi sunimmalayara Aiche Suvahiyam payasayara Sagar vargambhira Siddha siddhim mamadi santu Siddha siddhim mamadi santu Om Namo Arhantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vachchayanam, Namo Loye Savvasamhunam. Esu Panchanamukkaro Savapavapanasano Mangalanam cha Savvesim Padhamam Havai Mangalam Chattari Mangalam Arhanta Mangalam Siddha Mangalam Sahu Mangalam Kevali Pannatto Dhammo Mangalam Chattari Loguttama Arhanta Loguttama Siddha Loguttama Sahu Loguttama Kevali Pannatto Dhammo Loguttamo Chattari Saranam Pavachami Arhante Saranam Pavachami Siddhe Saranam Pavachami Sahu Saranam Pavachami Kevali Pannattam Dhammam Saranam Pavachami Vighnaharan Mangalakaran Swam Bhikshuno Nam Gunolakh Sumiran Kiya Sareya Chintya Kam Sareya Chintya Kam सरे चिंत्या काम अंगूठे अमृत बसे लब्धि तड़ा भंडार श्री गुरु गौतम समरिए मन वांछित फल दाता।
It's a Kshyopsham.